Welcome back, everyone. MTG Joe here, and we got the official Worlds Magic Cup tournament, the deck list. So it's a big cash tournament that is taking place this weekend in Hawaii. Some of the best players in the world are going to be competing there. So the meta pretty much broke down as blue-white control, Team of Reclamation, and mono red, with Canister playing Jund Sacrifice that he won one of the Mythic Champions with. So I'm testing out some of the lists. I'm going to start off with Blue-White Control. Haven't really played this on stream yet, so some people were asking for some videos, so we'll test this out. So the one I'm playing is Paolo Vito Della Rosa. Very good player. What's kind of struck me as interesting in this particular build is only one Dream Trawler. Most of the lists are playing upwards of 4. And then they're playing 1 Archons of Sun's Grace. So the Pegasus that gets you more Pegasus every enchantment you cast. Then it kind of plays like the cycle. So you have Thirst for Meaning in this version that you can cycle with Birth of Meletis, Omen, Banishing Light, or Elspeth Conquers Death. So you could kind of play around in that case. This version plays 3 Veto's main and 4 Absorbs, and then the combination of Narset and Teferi to disrupt, a couple Mystical Disputes in the main board as well. So it's pretty much like instant speed most of the deck. Then the notable difference with the mana base, this one's going more in on Castle Ardenvale than Castle Vantress, and is playing 1 Field of Ruin. Sideboard wise, so some of the decks are playing Glass Casket main. So we'll see how the arena meta kind of plays out. We might want to go Glass Casket main. Aether Gust versus the red matchup. Cerulean Drakes versus red. Another Veto versus control. 2 more Mystical Disputes. Narset's good in the control mirrors, or especially Reclamation. More Archons versus the creature-based matchups. And Commence the Endgame is a mirror breaker for the control matchups. It gives you a creature and draws you some cards. So we'll test this out, see how it goes. These games probably will go longer because it is blue-white control, or flat tier 2. So we'll probably play 2 depending on how long it goes. Obviously, if we just run mono red all the time, we'll kind of play a couple more games. So I'll come back with a brew for the next stream. I'm working on a Rakdos midrange deck. I just haven't had a chance to test it enough yet, so I want to get that at least a couple games in to refine the numbers before we bring it out on stream. As always, if you enjoy the content, if you can and you're catching this on YouTube, drop a like or subscribe. And if you're following on Twitch, if you can click the follow button. They're all free, they're all easy, and they help out the channel immensely, so appreciate if you can do so. Enough pandering, so we'll keep this hand. Hope everyone's doing well. This weekend's a little weird for streaming. I probably won't be doing as much as I normally do. Anticipating it's a family day weekend in Toronto, or in Canada. So this is the mirror. So they do have an option to get Teferi down, which kind of messes with us. Okay, so I'll play this now. So back up to Teferi and another land. I think we just want the land and then say go. So here we're just going to take advantage and play our own Teferi. I'm going to recycle this. Ooh, we got a discard, so let's just get rid of the birth. So they replay their Meletis. I would like to dig deeper. Of note, they only have 1 blue source. But until we can get this Teferi off the board, our mana situation, our counters aren't that useful. So plus here, I think we just Thirst for Meaning. Okay, so we got the Banishing Light that I like. Card selection's not really the issue right now, so play this out. They're still a ways away from Dream Trawler, so let's just Shatter the Sky here. I think we try to force their hand with an Elspeth Conquers Death. So 6 mana the following turn. I want to try to get some utility. At least with the counters we can keep up afterwards. They can make 1/1s now. So this matchup usually, like this is a meaningful card in the matchup. Okay. Okay, so they attack Teferi. Probably going to Field of Ruin. Get rid of the Castle Ardenvale this turn. Main phase Insight bodes pretty well for us. So I can field here. Get out another island, or probably just an island. Let's play Narset. So we're playing Narset here because it prevents them from drawing cards. Yeah, we're getting some bots in here. Okay, so they get rid of Narset with that, which is actually not too bad. So what I can do this turn is play this out and then probably just hold up a... Actually, the counter is not going to work this turn because of Elspeth Conquers Death. So let's just Birth of Meletis here. How's it going, Quantum? This puts the 2 mana like penalty on you. Okay, so second Conquers Death. This one's probably going after Pegasus. Goes after Teferi. Doing well. It's like stupid cold in Toronto right now. We're going to, well, Celsius at least, minus like 25 Celsius. There's like a bunch of snow and stuff. They don't have anything in their graveyard, do they? Nothing that concerns me. So if I Banishing Light for 5, I can get rid of their thing, but I think we just set up the scry this turn. And then pass the turn. Really just want to, if they play something meaningful out, we could counter it. They've already blown through 2 Conquers Death. This is like the coldest weekend of the year for us. Okay, so they blew through a few resources here. They can bounce the Conquer's Death to deal with the Archon. Yeah, that's what they do, so it buys us a turn. So I'm just going to take the Teferi off the battlefield. drawn a lot of lands and none of them are good. So there's not really much we want to Banishing Light right now, so I'm just going to hold off. 36 cards, 36. So cards are the same, time's pretty much the same. But I want the fancy lands. I want the lands that when we flood, they do stuff. I think we have 7 islands. Jeez. Keep Teferi on top. Just attack in. We don't get the life anymore, but it's pressure on the opponent. Like I could Banishing Light here. It gets rid of Conquer's Death next turn. It'd be 10 mana, which we have both, so I think we just do that. The one thing, like, we only have really 2 threats, and one of them's been exiled. That one sucks. Like a lot. So this is the Glass Casket. So it might be. This is the version from the Mythic Championship, Paulo Vitor da Dolorosa. It could be very true. It plays around ego quite well. I think I would still prefer at least 2. Mana wise, it just feels like a better proposition. So I'm just going to plus Teferi here. Hey, thanks for coming by. I made it home. I was worried transit would be a pain. So they get their Teferi back. So what they can do is they can bounce the Glass Casket and exile my wall, which is what they're going to do. That allows their dude to attack in. 24. To be honest, I'm probably just going to bounce this human. We don't get the card. Oh, shit. You know what we can't beat? That. So we put 1 Shatter at the bottom. Did they use the Absorb already? So the thing is, like, I'm just doing this now, safe. Try to run them out a bit more clock. Yeah, I was hoping to get 3 games in, but probably not the case. Problem is with Narset, it makes it harder for us to actually like cycle through stuff. Okay, they absorb here. Just resolve all. Pass the turn. Now they know about this, so we only have 1 trawler of our own. Our life totals still relatively high. They've used, I think, 3 absorbs. They shock in. Sure. because we still have some outs with the sweepers. I want to still play as though we have that. We also have multiple castles, but with this like wall army, doesn't really help. This version's playing Chemisters. $23 cards.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
So because blue-white, yeah, this one's playing. So this is like a straight list from Worlds. It's playing the Thirst for Meaning, which I probably like Chemisters more. I just want to try it out and see. $23.11. How are we using equal as a clock? Pass the rest of the turn through. We're at 12. We've also drawn like an absurd amount of lands. Conquers death for no value. Okay, well, do you have a counter? They do. That's what we were trying to draw to. The thing is with Conquer's Death out, they can just bring it back. So in this matchup, we'll bring in those. We'll bring in the Narset, the Mystical Disputes, commence that. Coming out, Banishing Light doesn't seem that great, to be honest. Thirst for Meaning is fine. Cut down a Shatter. Do I maybe just want to play like all instant speed? So maybe not the Archons. Just try to win with... But Commence gets bad with... Probably play a couple of these. Shatter the Sky, Conquers Death's fine. Commence, Absorb. Thirst discard advantage. Probably just cut these Birth of Meletis. Doesn't do much. Elspeth Conquers Death deals with other Elspeth Conquers Death. Want all the counter spells, maybe just a Thirst for Meaning because we cut down our quantity. How many enchantments do we have? At the very least, it's a 3/4 flyer. Just run it like that. It's just another threat. Being on the play will help this game. These matches usually revolve around who gets their Teferi down first. So ideally here, like we don't have counter spells. Okay, so we have Dispute. So I'm going to probably try to play Teferi on 4. Yeah, I wanted to try out the Worlds one. These are all, this is like straight port. So there's kind of two variations of blue-white control. One was for Dream Trawler's main. Yeah, give me a sec and I'll pull it out. So the nice thing here is even if they have Veto, if they try to jam their Teferi, I have Mystical Dispute. So this is interesting. Do I just let this go or fight for it? Because they might have Veto. I think we let this go. Why would you tap like that? Nah, you know what? I think we go Pegasus this turn. Again, why would you tap like that? Even if they get Teferi here, it just bounces it. Why am I in full control? Arenas likes being difficult. You can find the deck list over there. Again. Let's not just go crazy. So even if they have Mystical Dispute here, we can pay for it. We're just going to draw a card here. Pass the turn. I could just start making tokens next turn. Try to attack down this Teferi. Still probably tack down the Teferi. You know what? It might have been bad playing. Oh, they got Conquer's Death. That gets rid of our Teferi. Playing this poorly. Veto doesn't do anything. So I'm just going to pass the turn here. They probably Conquer's Death. Gonna attack the Narset off the table at least for now. So they have Veto up for us. Actually, probably going to want to wait. With that out, I want to take out Narset. They get it back with Conquer's Death. It's a strong one for sure. Wouldn't say it's like be all end all. Dream Trawler is like the real deal. Jeez, there's nothing here. So let's discard Temple and Plains. Just cycle through as much of our deck as possible. So Veto, Archon, and Omen at least can make a token next turn. That's pretty ambitious. Unless they have another Teferi. Gets around the counter. So I can Conquer's Death, but they just veto it. So let's play this out. Get the Scry from this. Okay, that pulls out a Veto. Veto of our own doesn't do too much. I think we do the same actually as our opponent. I got 2 of these now so they can make tokens. Problem is they can start getting back their Teferis. So I think the mistake was early being the aggressor. I should have just played the control ability. It prevents us from getting a token so that they fully clear our board. So now there's no threat to Teferi. So I'm gonna get rid of the Conquer's Death. Pretty sure we're dead here. Probably. Oh, I forgot the double cost. See what we get here. Gone through half our deck. This pops off. I'm guessing they get Narset. And that's probably a Dream Trawler at this point. Yeah, and a lot of this just became we couldn't defend our... Yeah, this game's over. They have counter backup. We can't interact. So that was an error on my part early. We shall learn. Shall learn. Just going to give Arena a quick reset. These games tend to go a little bit longer. My computer lags a bit from streaming. Hopefully we don't run into that matchup again. Teamers, probably a little easier. They have a harder time dealing with Teferi. Probably go one more with this deck. This is kind of the reason I don't always play like blue-white control or like heavy control on stream, is just you end up spending half an hour a match. The mirrors are very thought-inducing, I would say. Like Doom Foretold mirrors are very much a dance of how you kind of interact, playing Teferi, stuff like that. This hand's no good. Come on. Not meant to play cards. I know. I don't know what the opponent's on yet, but I think we want card advantage. Yeah, that's... Like, I can't even get a fair feel for this game right now, just based on going down 2 cards. We'll see what deck the opponent's on. So it's probably Teamer Wreck. So their turn 2 plays not as meaningful. Their turn 3 plays where we want to catch them. So I'm just going to take this moment to get the land out of our deck. Veto is actually really good. Yeah, there's probably like 20 odd. Ooh, Sultai. So opponent can be on that Sultai ramp deck. Tamiyo's fine. I want to catch a Nisa or Casualties of War. I can always Banishing Light it. This might be like the Sultai Uro deck we played a couple days ago on stream. If so, this deck is another very slow grindy deck. But it has a hard time against blue-white. Yeah. They named Thought Erasure. Well, your Thought Erasure is not going to resolve against us. 1 casualty is already in the bin. Two casualties in the bin. That's fine. We'll catch Uro on the flip side. We can always exile it under Banishing Light. Conquers Death. Just play it out as like this. My guess is they try to do Thought Erasure. We can Dovin's Veto it. And they hit a second Uro. Having 2 casualties in the yard is really good. This hand would have sucked against mono red. Hydroid. Sure. They can pick up casualties. Kind of feel for them. They've gone through half their deck and haven't hit one of their likely 4 Erasures. Keep it on top. We need something of value. He's trying to sneak something through. Good thing is we get to see the majority of their deck. Yeah, I honestly think you should be playing Liliana as your 6 drop in these decks. Its minus deals with Dream Trawler. So if we draw a land, that would actually not be the worst. Try to veto me. Okay, so here I can go Conquers Death and hold up Dovin's Veto. Gets rid of 1 Uro. Really at this point I'm just trying to hold out. try to draw some sort of like win condition. Glass Casket seemed decent in this matchup. Sure. You did a lot of work there for minimal value. If they end up hitting their thought erasure, they still don't. 15 cards. They are running the risk of just milling themselves out. Teferi would actually be a very good draw for us right now because I can pick up the Banishing Light and then exile an Ura. Even a board wipe would be good at this point. Not really anything but a land, unless it's Castle Ardenvale. Could be with Jace. But against a control deck, that seems kind of iffy. Like we've shown basically this game nothing but counter spells. The deck we played originally had one Jace in it. We ended up cutting it for Pelucranos. That's interesting. Still think we just veto it. Holy shit, it's a non-creature spell. I would love both of these. So I think we go here, bounce this. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. I'm doing that play because it's it takes some longer to attack with this, which is really what I want. Okay, so they do have Jace. So now we know for sure we need to deal with the Jace. Yeah, but he's got that Jace. You're right, Quantum. He's trying to win through Jace. So he might try to win the turn of. So I can Conquer's Death. I think we just Teferi. Because I need to keep the veto up. I like doing this, I think. I'd imagine they only play one. Okay, so they got the Thought Erasure. So I can Jace tax them this turn. Let's not give them the option to take Conquer's Death. Okay, so we need a counter spell here. Okay, so I'm going to do this on Tamiyo. It stops him from digging as deep with Jace. We're going to pretend like we have a counter spell. At least we know what they're up to. We definitely hung in this game for a mull to 5 and really drawing, like we drew Vetoes, that's basically it, and 2 Teferis. Because if we did that, we would have died this turn, because Jace self-mills and then Vraska mills, so they would have won that turn, so we were forced to blow this Conquer's Death. Cool. You waste your thought erasure. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm gonna actually do this because we need to find Conquer's Death. Nope. So let's make the opponent waste a bit more clock. Their combo's a bit slower. We almost caught them. So they could have just sacked something. Takes an extra minute or so off the clock. Sure, let us know you have 2 Garrux in your deck. Okay, that's weird. They could have won with Jace. They can just attack to win still, but again, let's make them waste some clock. We're 4 minutes ahead on them. Oh, actually they can't. Because if they attack with Uro... They have the Jace. So they had the last one. And they went through that. Opponents spent a lot more time than they needed to win this game. Alright, in this matchup, Glass Casket's probably something we want to bring in. Another Veto, the Chemisters. Probably the Disputes. The Endgames are fine. They have Hydroid Crisis. Do we want the Archons? I don't know. Let's see what we got going here. Thirst for Meaning. I don't think we want. Banishing Light's also a liability. Maybe we play a couple of these. Commence is actually bad here because we can't really interact with like they have so many things on the ground. Glass Casket could deal with the early stuff. This creates blockers, but maybe we cut one. Teferi's fine. Shatter's fine. Mystical Dispute on the play is probably okay. Probably just cut these births. Mind you, they do help. I don't know how to sideboard with this deck yet. Okay, let's get rid of these. Trim down one of these. Just do 2 Archons. Just do the Teferi down one. Teferi's not the best in this matchup. So we'll see. It's weird. I'm like, World's better with the Doom Foretold control list, but I can't win with this list. So lead on that. Bant Wolf Run was an old deck from Return to Ravnica Innistrad Standard. It was a Bant deck that played Kessig Wolf Run. So it was like Thragtusk, Restoration Angel. You build up like a ton of mana, and then you jam those out. It's my favorite deck that I've played probably ever, and it was like my first kind of when I got into competitive Magic. It was like the big baller. I remember like putting all my money into that deck. Thragtusk were like $40 each. Restoration Angels were like $15-20. I think we just continue playing the long game here. You know, it'd be nice if we can draw something. That's fine. If they take any of our planeswalkers, we're also getting mana screwed like ridiculous with this deck. I don't think I like this version as much. I think we'd be much better. Yeah, like the original Aristocrats was awesome. Bant Wolf Run, played a lot of Esper Control with like original Ashiok as my win condition. Pretty much always gravitate to like big mana decks or control. So it's kind of a staring contest. So I want to wait till I can hold up Absorb and Dispel. Yeah, Archon's sweet. We play the green-white version with it, but I don't like it in this deck that much. It's not really where we want to be, I think. Let's get another blue source. I want to try to draw lands, so that fractionally would help. Just going to decline here. Like, it's minor percentage points, but there's no point of... Vraska doesn't actually do anything right now. This deck doesn't have enough to do when you don't hold up counters. Like Brazen Borer would be fine. Chemister's Insight to recycle would be good. Okay, Archon resolves. Yeah, but the guy playing this deck is one of the best control players of all time, so we'll give him the credence there that he knows what he's doing. But it's just some decks you don't have success with. This is one of those decks for me where no matter how many variations, I just haven't had much luck. Yeah, and that could be sometimes Worlds tends to be a little bit of an inbred tournament. Like, I don't think mainboard Mystical Dispute's a smart call on ladder. Okay, so that gives us something. We can flash at instant speed. Just gonna knock this down a bit. So I can do that. No, I think we just hold up our mana. I can flash an Omen on end step and make a Pegasus. So it's not the best value, but it hopefully gets some cards out of their hand. It also makes the future one. Oh, they can't cast it. They might have something else in hand. They're land short of casualties. Still one short for Uro. Generally like 3 decks is a good mix. I'd say it's a little bit too combo-y right now. If I would have to make that conclusion. But it's still, you know what, I should have gotten the Veto. It plays better too if they have a removal spell here. Okay, so let's see. If I do this, that lets me hold up Veto and Mystical Dispute. I want to save this Conquer's Death for the Uro that's coming down. If I do this, it also lets me Veto and Mystical Dispute. That's fine. Second Dispute's actually really good, because that means we can fire 2 off for this Uro. And this is where, like, that first game, the opponent wasted a lot of clock there trying to be, like, cheeky. They've used 7 more minutes of clock time here. Narset also does a good job of turning off Vraska's Plus. Just get rid of this. Are you an enchantment? No. Okay. Some of these creatures are just randomly enchantments. That's fine. This just gains them 3 life. Countering it doesn't do anything because they don't get the card draw. We can deal with this Vraska. Okay, they just concede. Probably the Glass Casket there, it answered Uro better. Okay, so that matchup was actually pretty good. Teferi's increasing. Actually, they brought in more counters, but it's weaker to casualties. Do we want Aether Gust? Probably not. You know, I'm going to bring in a couple of these. Take out the Teferis. Probably just run it like this. That game was a game where it massed, but I feel like we're playing from behind in this game. I was kind of hoping they kept playing. Play Caucus, thanks for the follow. We have lands. What do we do with these? If you ever fought, like, I apologize in advance if I miss some of the follows and stuff. It doesn't really prompt up other than a small little bar on Streamlabs. So between streaming and chat and everything, I sometimes miss them. But I do go back afterwards and just check the activity. I think it's fair this turn we just do this. It's worse if they get like Vraska down. Okay, they get Tameo. Thought Erasure. Mystical Dispute. So this is good because I have Dovin's Veto if need be. Agonizing Remorse. I think we just counter this. One day this Tameo will find them their Thought Erasure. Okay, they probably get rid of Archon here. That's Mystical Dispute. They milled the Jace. Surprised they would name Uro. At this point, you filled your yard. You probably just wanted in play. So I'm just going to force if they want this Dispute out of their hand. Okay, that's fine. This lets us thirst for meaning. Hey, Remember when I said we finally had lands? Conquer's Death would be pretty good. Uro? Okay, so they got Uro out of the yard. They have a casualties there. So here I'm going to do this in response in case we draw Mystical Dispute, and we literally draw nothing but lands. It's kind of nutty. So this just resets Uro for a turn. We can catch it with the Dispute, hopefully. Same with Casualties of War if they have that in hand. Yeah, they hit a second. Uro. Tamiyo's very good with Uro. They do have the Jace in the yard already, and Tamiyo's enough to get it out. That's fine. I don't think we're going to be able to run him out of clock. That doesn't matter. Tefstead. So we could have countered that, but I think just based on how our hand's shaping up. Okay, so that's not bad. Because now I can Omen of the Sea and Mystical Dispute. Let's see what we got on top. So they're probably going to take Omen here. Take Dispute. We getting casualties? Can hit down Tamiyo here. Really, if we could just gum up this board a bit more. Dream Trawler. Oh, that's nice. So we can casual. Yeah, I think we just do this. Slows them down a bit. Obviously they can go Uro here, but it's wasting some more clock time. Yeah, with the Uros and stuff, you end up getting so much value. This matchup's actually, like, this deck is very good against blue-white, just because we've answered their stuff, but they just keep getting it back. Like, how many times have we answered this Uro? And they still have the Jace in the yard. Might just be Dream Trawler is like the way we can try to win. Yeah, he might have qualified for it. Neither of these cards are good right now. Ooh, okay, that's not terrible. Slows him down a bit more. I'm probably just gonna pop this to scry. Let's put a stop. Watch out with the recent update. Like if you have state-based actions like this, you have to go into full control mode or put a stop. It's skipped through a couple times when I had like actions to make. Well, we're gonna lose it anyways. So they don't get the surveil unless they pay. Alright, another Uro. Still have Jace here. Also, this deck having no sideboard options to exile graveyard seems wrong. What do we got? Kind of a redraw. They can get Thought Erasure back. They probably have Thought Erasure. I prefer Ashiok because it can attack at like a different axis. Ah, they got the Remorse. Alrighty. How do we get out of this? Dream Trawler doesn't do it. Okay, they get Jace back to hand. That's not what we wanted. Okay, that's a start. Elspeth conquers death. So I have to get rid of Uro. Nope, we're dead. We are dead. I don't like this deck. I'm a control player and I don't like this deck. This is the third variation of blue-white I've played and just haven't had any success with any of them. So I can probably wrap this one up. I've been going for like an hour and 20 minutes. I'm going to watch it to see how they play it, but I think it might be. So this is one I'm working on. I don't know if it's any good yet. We have to play a game with it, but really like Tech Giant last game with the Naya Giants list. So playing around kind of a mid-rangey, big beater kind of deck. Bunch of discard and kind of flexible answers. You can pivot between aggro, mid-range, or control. So I can test this one out. This will be the next one I go with. So numbers are subject to change right now, but hopefully do this one Saturday. But I'll let everyone know when I go live with this one. Anyways, thanks everyone who came by. Have a great evening or day, depending where you are in the world, and we will catch you the next time.